Ken from Ken's Gambling likes to say they put lipstick on a pig, right? Here's the pig. This is the pig right here. It's a bag full of random shit, right? And you're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna bet you $10 that I'm gonna reach in here and I'm gonna grab me a 4 before I grab, or a white one before I grab the black one. And if I get it, because there's only 3, you're gonna pay me $18. I'll bet you $10 against 18 that I can reach into a bag with 9 things in it and pull a white one out. That's what we're saying when you're place betting the 4. This is boring and stupid and gross. Who's gonna play that game? Right? Nobody's playing that game. What do? They make a big ass fancy table. They get people screaming and yelling. They got 5 dealers out there and chips everywhere. And we go, oh, let me do that. Let me put that $10 on that 4. It's no different than the frickin' bag. It's the same shit. All the casino is a bag of marbles with felt and glitz and glam on it. Remember that. That's all that it is. So that's my closing thought. Actually, that was a great drop the mic moment right there, folks. That's it. The casino is a bag of shit that you're reaching into and making a bet on. That's all every bet comes down to. Everything comes down to that, unless you got some advantage that lets you pull different things out of the bag at will, or more often than not, card counting and those kind of things. So there it is. All right. We're talking about Gambler's Fallacy here in session 4. And I chose Gambler's Fallacy for this session because we've been talking about probability and odds. And a lot of people will use what we call Gambler's Fallacy or this notion that something is due, okay? I will tell you this, the house always wins, right? We know this, the house always wins. We mentioned earlier today, if you play the same bet forever, the house edge will bleed you dry over time. That will for sure happen. It's just the way the math of the casino works. Now, we as gamblers make that worse by making what I would call poor decisions, right? Putting good money out there after bad, by making what I would call a fallacy-based decision. Something is due to happen. Haven't seen a 7 in a while, it's coming. Saw too many 4s, the 7 must be coming. Blah, 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 blah is due. Too many reds in a row, black is due. Too many bankers in a row, player is due. Nope. None of that is true. Not one bit of that is true. Okay. Once we break probability, things will even themselves out. I hear this all the time, right? Oh, we got 7 7s. That means that the world owes us a non-7 at some point. The universe owes you nothing. Okay. You've seen the 7 twice in a row. There's only a 0.5% chance that it happens a third time. BS. Not true. We haven't seen a 0 or a double 0 in 38 rolls. We've dodged it for 38 rolls. There's 38 spots in that roulette wheel. You haven't seen a 0 double 0 yet. It's due. Start betting on it. BS. It's not due. I'll show you why here in a minute. Some people say, hey, that there's been 6 9s rolled in the last 10 rolls. Either we're trending 9s or the 7's coming, right? How many times I've even said it, right? Oh God, the 9 is hot, right? Or I rolled so many 9s that 9's going to go away for a while. Get off the 9. We're not going to see another 9 for an hour. We all say things like this is all superstitious fallacy based on things you think are going to happen based on the way that you perceive probability. Okay. These notions are wrong fundamentally. Something is due to happen is fundamentally wrong. And here's a few of the reasons why. Okay. 1, odds and probabilities reset. They reset because everything's independent. Okay. The results do not even out over time. They just do not. It may end up that way, but they don't. The world does not owe you a couple of 0s and double 0s because we didn't see any. The world does not owe me a hard 4 because it's been 160 rolls since I've seen one. It doesn't work that way. Okay. They don't even out. The law of big numbers, I'll show you here in a minute. The law of big numbers will feel like it evens out, but it really doesn't. You got to remember that everything we do, even if it's Baccarat, blackjack, UTH, whatever the game is, everything is an independent trial. Okay. There's no, what I would call futures betting in this world. You'll hear people make that argument quite a bit when they advocate for 3 7s in a row. There's no way a 4th one is coming. That's a futures bettor's point of view of it. It's completely wrong. There are no such things as trends in independent trial games. It's just not. And point we've made before with my friend JB, Myopia Movie, the impossible is a guarantee to happen. You might think it's never going to happen. Trust me, it will happen. It may not happen to you, but it will happen. You cannot bet on the impossible. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about some of these things. And I think what I might want to do here is go to the table, actually, and talk through some of these. So I'm going to switch my screen here and go back to my craps table, and I want to demonstrate some of this with chips and with a bag of marbles. Let's examine this first point here, that the odds and probabilities reset. I've heard people make this point where you know the seven's coming X number of times. We have, let's just take, I'll put it right here in the middle of my table. We'll do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to roll a 7 in the craps. You have 1, 2, 3 ways to roll a 4 in the craps. Okay. And again, consider just the case of raw probability. The probability of a 4 beating a 7 is 3 out of 9, right? 33%. That's the way the probabilities work. Now, what people tend to think is this: hey, I rolled a 4. Cool. Take it away. Now the 7 is more likely than my 4. Well, I rolled another 4. Awesome. Now the 7 is even more likely than my 4, right? Well, I rolled a 4. The 7's guaranteed to come down, right? I've removed the 4 from the mix. Okay? People think that odds and probabilities somehow are compounded like that, right? Or I rolled 1, 2, 3, 4 7s in a row, right? Or 4 7s before a 4. That 4 is so due, right? The universe owes me. I might have rolled 6 7s and not seen 1 4. You say, God, the universe owes me a 4. I got to tell you, folks, this is not how it works, right? That's not how it works. Look at what I got on screen here, right? There are 3 ways to win, 6 ways, 9 ways to win total. When you roll 7, it doesn't remove itself from the world and increase or decrease your odds of winning or losing. The way that this works is this. I'm going to put this bag out here. And this is going to be I'm going to do this a number of times today. But let's put layers in a bag, all right? I've got 3 whites. That's your 4. I've got 6 blacks. That's your 7th. Okay. The way the world works, that demonstration right there is this: we put them all in the bag. Put them all in the bag, right? Take the bag up. Take the bag up. Reach into the bag. You pull out one thing. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm covering them up. I'm going to pull out this. It's a white chip. We got a 4, right? Guess what happens when the dealer brings the dice back to the shooter? Guess what happens? That goes right back in the bag. And the bag, once again, has 6 reds and 3 4s in it, right? It's the same thing, right? Just because we pull a 4 out does not mean I'm more likely or less likely to pull a 4 or a 7 out of its bag. They all go back in every single time. This system does not, there's a 7. It doesn't reset. I don't have less 7s in here. I'd always have 6 7s in the bag. I've always got 3 4s in the bag. You're looking at odds of winning or losing. These numbers don't reset. The universe does not owe you something, extra 7 coming because you won a 4. No, it's always the same thing every single time. That's what we mean by things are a game of independent trials. The results do not even out. Okay, and here's the thing to consider too, right? In 100 spins of a roulette wheel, you should see about 47 reds based on probability. Okay, if you see 63 reds, okay, it doesn't mean that the world owes us more reds next time or more blacks, right? Doesn't that mean we're going to get 13 fewer reds in the future? This is the law of big numbers, okay? The results don't even out. In other words, let's say that we have this situation here again. Let's just use our 4s and our 7s, okay? Let's say that, and if I keep track over here, let's say that we got, there's 5 in, let's say that we got, out of 36 rolls, we got 10 7s out of 36 rolls. And go, oh my God. Oh my God. We're, it's going to even itself out. Who's heard a YouTuber say this? It's going to even itself out eventually, right? The world owes me. The world owes me, right? 4 7s, 4 less 7s on the next 36 rolls. We're owed 4. You're not owed 4. Okay. You got 10 in that 36 roll sequence. Fine. What will happen is this. I want you to think about how this works. Again, you at the table in 100 rolls that you might see might be in this world where you get 20% of the rolls are sevens instead of 16%. And that sucks for you, okay? Over the course of time, those extra 4 sevens don't really matter very much, okay? Extra 4 sevens out of 36 rolls sucks. That's a huge percentage. It's a huge leap. It's a huge variant for you, right? Those 4 sevens, when looked at 4 extra sevens over 1,000 rolls, doesn't matter so much. 4 extra sevens over 1 billion rolls matters nothing. The percentages here are big. Those 4 sevens represent about, a 10, 12% variance, right? Those 4 sevens over 1,000 rolls represent less than 1% variance. Those 4 sevens over 1 billion rolls represent almost 0 variance. So law of big numbers dictates to you that this is true, okay? You might have extra outcomes today, right now. The world doesn't owe you a reset on that. Just as we go to infinite numbers, the impact of that reset is very small, okay? You may get, like I said, you may have a series with 36 with no sevens. It doesn't owe you sevens back. This is law of big numbers stuff. This is how this all works. And again, this is why the casino makes so damn much money on us, right? This is why they're so good at their game, right? Okay, the next thing is this: independent trials equals no trends. And I know we talk about this quite a bit on my show, but read what's on screen here. Every spin of the wheel or roll of the dice is a unique event. And I'll get the marbles out again. I'll show you one more time in the bag here. This is so important for us to remember. Here it is. Here's the bag. And I have the visual out here, right? We have in the bag 6 blacks that are 6 sevens. We have 3 whites that are 3 fours, right? I pull something out of that bag. There's a 4. It goes back in the bag, right? And there's not a thing that I can do on the next pull of this bag that has any impact at all on what happened previously, okay? Everything is an independent trial. You got to remember that. And of all things that are truthful, this is the one. I pull the marble out of the bag. It goes right back in the bag. The next time I reach in, the bag has the exact same number of things in it, and they're scrambled up all over the place, okay? Nothing I did when I reached in the bag the first time has any impact on what's going to happen when I reach in the bag the second, third, fourth, or fifth time. It doesn't make any difference. Nothing I did or nothing I can do can change what's in the bag or the randomness by which I pull it out, unless, and here's the big caveat, unless you are one of those magicians who can throw the dice and say, I'm so good, there's 1 less 7 in the bag. That's the way you can change things, right? Or if your dice setting somehow puts all the 7s on the right side of the bag and all the 4s on the left side of the bag, and you somehow were able to reach over here and grab this side of the bag, right? Which is, again, magic stuff, right? That's what I'm talking about. Everything is independent. You've got to remember that everything's independent. Unless you have an advantage of some kind, demonstrable advantage, and you're removing marbles, or you're placing them in a way that you can only grab a certain color, there's no trends or patterns. Everything's independent. The bag is always randomized, and it's always full. The bag is always full of marbles. There's no marbles or chips removed from that bag. And again, here's the big one: independent trials and futures bets. Lock in on this one. This is an important thing for us to remember, okay? I hear this so often about the futures bets, right? The probability of rolling 4 sevens in a row is 0.07%. It's infinitesimal. It's ridiculous, right? 7/700th of a percent, okay? The probability of rolling a 7 after you've rolled a 7 is 16.67%, right? Every single time. Remember this. And this is, again, for the guys who say, wait for 2 sevens before you bet. This is the fallacy that gets a lot of people in trouble, okay? After you've seen 3 sevens, and I can do it right here on the table. If I roll the dice, 7, 7, 7, I ask you the question, and here's the answer on screen. What is the probability that the next roll of that dice is a 7? Is it 0.07% chance that I roll a 7 on the 4th one? Or is it 16.67%? The answer is 16.67%. Every roll of the dice is independent. It doesn't matter that I rolled 5, 10 sevens in a row. It does not matter. The next roll of the dice, independent trial, it still has a 16% chance of being a 7. That never changes. Now, if you look at this from the beginning of that series and say, look, you've rolled 0 times. Here's a brand new set of dice. I will bet you $1 million that you can't roll 4 in a row. That's the 0.07% chance ahead of time. I can make that bet ahead of time. So yes, no way in hell you're rolling 4 in a row or 5 in a row. That the casino will take that bet. I would take that bet, right? That's the futures planning bet. That's the problem, is that we look at that in the present. People look at what they think can never happen because they're looking at, hey, that's never going to happen. When it's already happened and we're in the moment, you can't make that betting decision. You cannot say because it happened 3 times, it will not happen a 4th time. The 4th time does not incur the penalty of 0.07% in this particular case. The 4th time has the same likelihood as the 1st time. You've got to remember that. I've fallen victim to this myself. I've been in my garage, I've been on this table, and I've thrown 7, 7, 7. I'm like, there's no way I'm throwing another one. Now's the time to go out $2,500 across. And guess what? Freaking 7 comes. Because the dice don't give a shit that I rolled 3 in a row. The dice know that they are back in that bag, and I'm pulling out 1 in 6 chance of getting a 7 again. It does not matter what happened. You've got to remember this above all things. Above all things. Things that happen sequentially, you can bet them ahead of time and say that's never going to happen, or you can bet it in the moment. In the moment, the probability does not change, regardless of what happened beforehand. That's super important to remember, okay? The last thing I want to leave you with this is that the impossible is a guarantee. Okay, the impossible is a guarantee. And I've got a couple of examples here. We've talked about these before, but again, these come from my good friend, JB, who's a mathematician, and he likes to speak in pictures. And I think these are great pictures. The impossible is guaranteed. If I put you in a football stadium with 65,000 people, and we say everybody flip a coin, and all the losers sit down, okay? 65,000 people, you're going to have 18. I think it's 16 to 18. I forget the number of the binaries there. I think it's about 16 trials on average. 16 times you'll get down to the last 2 people, and somebody wins the thing, right? Somebody has to win 15 times in a row to win that. It seems impossible. If I gave you a coin and me and you went head to head, right? What's the chances of one of us going 15 times in a row? Well, it's 50% to the 15th power. That's how you figure that out, by the way. But that's what somebody's going to be the winner. The impossible thing is going to happen. Somebody's going to be the best. And matter of fact, somebody's going to win 15 in a row to get to the 16th one, right? That's the thing. I've seen a lot of this. I watch a lot of videos. I'm sure you do too. Roulette strategies are always martingales for whatever reason. Baccarat videos are always these weird inverse pattern betting things, right? Here's the example, right? This series, I made it up. Player, banker, banker, 6 players in a row, banker, player, player, banker, 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 right? Whatever that series is. That happened. I guarantee you that exact series of bets has happened in the casino somewhere in the US. Today. It probably happened today somewhere, right? You go, oh my God, what an interesting series that is. And a lot of people will inverse bet that. They're going to bet a martingale on the reverse. They're going to bet banker, player, player, banker, 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 banker. And the only way to lose the martingale is if this exact series of bets happens in the reverse order, right? Seems impossible, but I guarantee you somewhere today in the US, somebody has seen a table where it went banker, player, player, banker, 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 player, banker, banker, and all the way around. It's been reversed. It seems impossible until it gets you. I guarantee you it will happen. Okay. Again, the probability is not 0 to roll 4 sevens in a row. It's tiny. It's 0.07%, right? It's not 0 that it will never happen. Okay. Matter of fact, it's 1 out of 1.5 million is what that comes out to, if you're curious. 1.5 million of us will never see 4 sevens in a row. But somebody's going to walk up to a table, probably today, maybe in Oklahoma, grab them dice, 4 sevens in a row. They're going to have a hell of a story they can tell. Guarantee it's going to happen. Betting against the impossible will crush you, especially if you're a martingale bettor, like a lot of people do on roulette and on baccarat. The martingale stuff, without any kind of guardrail, on the impossible because they're looking ahead and saying there's no way, probability wise, that this exact sequence of things can happen. I guarantee you they will happen. Be careful about that stuff. Gambler's fallacy is one of those things that I think it's a very interesting thing to study. It's a very dangerous thing to be a part of. Okay. Especially that bankroll. But there's a but to it, right? And I'll close with this, right? All the things that the fallacists believe will probably happen, right? You may never in your life see 4 sevens in a row. You may bet the 4 hard, right? You may do all across bet for $10,000 after the 3rd 7, and your whole life you'll never see the 4th 7. I'm not going to dispute that could happen to you, right? But I guarantee you somewhere in the world that 4th 7's happened and somebody lost 10K. Guarantee it, right? I'll also guarantee you this, right? From the fallacy point of view, streaks happen. We talk about this all the time. Streaks happen all the time. Variance is very real. There's no causality to it, but it's real. The law of big numbers is always looming, though. Remember that. Don't fall prey to the confirmation bias. When you see something that happens, and you go, oh, see, I told you. Don't do that. It's dumb luck. The bag of marbles is the bag of marbles drives the whole thing. Okay. I believe this. I joke about this a lot. I think everything's happening right now. We're in a giant RNG. Like right now, there's an RNG running in the universe, and every billionth of a second, it's deciding 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, right? And when I roll the dice, it happens to land at the nanosecond where the universe's RNG said, "Screw you, John. You're getting a 7." I know that's not really what's happening, but it feels like it sometimes, doesn't it? Anyway, there's my talk, guys. That's Gambler's Fallacy. I think the math doesn't support any of it, right? It's you want to bet that way. You want to bet based on gut, based on feel. That's fine. Do not make decisions that say, because I saw this, that's going to happen. It's complete lunacy. Okay. The way that it works is lunacy. The odds of things happening never change unless you've got a demonstrable physical advantage or something physically is different in the room or whatever. It never changes. Now, can you take advantage of that? Sure. Right? Can you take advantage of it? Sure. Is that how streaks happen? Yeah, that's how they form. You can bet differently based on these things, but to just sit around and say, oh, you know what, we're due. Haven't seen a 7 in a while, it's due. Haven't seen a 4 in a while, it's due. Too many reds in a row, black has got to be coming. None of that is true. None of that is true. And there it is. I do have a fallacy. See, my fallacy is that the dice kiss, it's a 7. There you go. That's my confirmation. It's not fallacy, it's confirmation bias, right? We should do this. And I think maybe I'm going to elect somebody to help me out here. Every time JB's challenged me on this before, and I think I should take the challenge up. Anytime the dice kiss and I say, oh shit, they kissed, right? Someone needs to write down what the number was. What happened when I say the dice kissed and it's a 7 or a 5 or whatever, and I say, oh, we got lucky on that one. Write it down. Every time you're playing and the dice go off the table, write down the next roll. Just keep a separate log of like dice off the table and write down the numbers that came after that. I wonder if it's going to be 1 out of 6 times the dice go off the table that a 7 shows up. And I wonder if 1 out of 6 times my dice kiss if it's a 7. Probably is. But it sure as hell feels like every time it happens, I remember it. And the reason for that is your brain remembers like stark events. Like, oh, that was a jolt when that happened, right? Like it's, oh, they kissed. Yeah, I swear. And it's 7. See, I told you, right? You're going to remember that. I don't remember the times they kissed and I got a 6, 4, 10 because it's boring, right? You remember things that are seared in your brain are what you remember. So, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave us a comment here in the comment section for the video, but really better still, join us on Discord. Go to casinogaming.tv and hit the community link in the menu there and join our Discord. That's where me, other YouTubers, and all of our subscribers hang out. We sit there and talk strategy and just BS kind of all day long. It's a great way to get connected and stay connected and kind of interact with the team. Learn about meetups and get-togethers and all that kind of stuff. So with all that said, again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.